There were some things also in this movie that I thought were so over the top and crazy, like
Drive-by movies. My name's Blaise.
I am James.
And never have I ever seen Tango Cash.
Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell. Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash comes from 1989. It is about two cops who are framed by their ruthless arch nemesis. A mismatched LAPD crime-fighting duo has to put its differences aside to even the score with the evil kingpin who put them behind bars once and for all. So Tango and Cash is a buddy cop movie I've heard of, but I didn't know too much about, and I'm really curious what the story behind it was, why you wanted to choose it. This is my first time watching it. I did enjoy it. It's an interesting cast seeing Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone as buddy cops, just because I could see them kind of playing the same role either way. This is definitely a different role for Sylvester Stallone that I haven't really seen him in, so it was actually a very enjoyable watch for the most part for me, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts and like what the story is on why we're watching this for Never Have I Ever.
So the original reason why I chose this movie is because I watched a film on, I think it's Amazon Prime. It was a documentary about action movie stars. So essentially the movie was basically about, the history of the action movie hero, how the action movie hero changed over time, where it started. Went to Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously, big, beefy, meaty heroes. Went from Bruce Lee originally, became these meaty guys, and then eventually kind of changed, became the Keanu Reeves character that you see in The Matrix and ultimately John Wick, and just how that hero changed over time. Essentially the evolution of it. Tango and Cash was a movie that they talked about in the film that I was like, I actually haven't seen that. And I'm a huge fan of Kurt Russell. I loved him in movies like Big Trouble in Little China, which we've checked out on the show. Loved him in The Thing. And I like Stallone. I absolutely love Rocky. Probably one of my favorite movies, obviously.
I'll tell you one thing. Whoever set us up is really connected.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Relax. Soak. And don't flatter yourself.
Essentially them, tag teaming up forces, those two big muscles coming together, that famous meme. This is essentially the movie version of that. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to check it out finally. I hadn't seen it. It was a movie that, when you like movies, but then there's a movie that you haven't seen where you're like, I kind of want to check that out because it's something that I haven't seen. They obviously don't make movies from that era anymore. Like I feel like very nostalgic about that when it comes to horror movies, where I'm like, I love 80s horror movies, but I feel like I've seen every single one. So whenever I find one that I haven't seen, I'm absolutely stoked to check it out. This was definitely a movie that was exactly like that, where I'm like, all right, Stallone and Russell together. I haven't seen that. Need to check it out. Here we are. Never have I ever. So I absolutely love this movie. Watching this for the first time, it was, something I obviously expected. Just hearing about it, I'm like, all right, we're gonna get Russell, just this wisecracking guy. It's a fun buddy cop movie. Russell is gonna be basically his character from Big Trouble in Little China, and you're gonna get
exactly
Stallone.
What I thought too.
This is the sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. Essentially, he just moves from San Francisco down to LA.
Shame. Don't you know ponytails are out this season? How you doing, Cash?
Oh, things are just getting better by the second.
There's a party on the roof.
Can I invite Mr. Potato Head here?
Sure, it wouldn't be a party without Potato Head.
Plan A.
This party is really fun.
I thought it was just such a fun buddy cop movie. It's cool to see Stallone playing a different kind of, like, he starts the movie just being so straight-laced, kind of like a nerdy guy, which is not usually your Stallone character. It's the absolute opposite of Rambo. So it's cool to see that. But then you see them like kind of building a relationship together, and then you see obviously Kurt Russell building a relationship with Stallone, who he thinks is Stallone's girlfriend, but it's actually Stallone's sister, and that adds like just this fun dynamic to the buddy cop comedy that it was just it was so funny, and like it just added a fun element to your traditional buddy cop comedy where it's like, all right, he's trying to kind of get with his sister, but he really thinks it's Stallone's girlfriend. So there's like such a funny ass scene where I was laughing my ass off where they're like massaging each other.
Did you sleep with my sister?
I was so drunk. I don't remember, okay?
And they keep not showing it too, but they're saying like such weird things. If it was a massage and you were saying that kind of stuff, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting scene, and yeah, I was like very surprised by like just like some of the actors. There's a lot of familiar faces. Like I can't name the actors off the top of my head, but the Chinese guy from Big Trouble in Little China is also in this, and he's also in Seinfeld, which is funny. Terry Hatcher. I mean, of course, most people might remember her from like from Desperate Housewives or like Lois and Lane, The New Adventures of Superman. I think that show was called. I used to watch it as a kid, but I mainly remember her as the girl where like they're real and they're spectacular from Seinfeld.
And by the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
Love that show. So seeing both of them, who are both Seinfeld alum, like seeing in this together, I got super stoked, and the Seinfeld nerd in me got super excited. But yeah, like you said, Sylvester Stallone, I brought it up a little bit. Just seeing him kind of just like playing a very nerdy guy when, you know, he's a lot bigger and much more swole than, nothing against like Kurt Russell or anything, like he's a buff dude too, but just like seeing Sylvester Stallone in that kind of role was like hilarious. And at first, like I was just like, wait, is this like the original Escape Plan? If you don't know what an Escape Plan it was like a movie that came out 5 years ago where it was him and Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to escape from prison or whatever. And seeing that, like, that's what I thought this movie was gonna be, but that plot is only really about like 20 minutes of the movie, and I kind of like those parts the most, actually, when they're getting to know each other. They're very two cops that don't get along and are like arguing amongst each other, but as they get along much better, though, there's a lot of fun, like quirky moments and stuff. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable movie that I wasn't really expecting, and like I'm hoping that you start choosing more buddy cop movies, because I know there's a lot from the 80s that I haven't seen and that you haven't seen. I love Beverly Hills Cop. I know you haven't seen that yet. 48 Hours is a movie I've always wanted to see, and now I'm like kind of want to check that out also. So yeah.
Yeah, 48 Hours is probably gonna be my next movie. I'm not gonna lie. That's been on my radar for a while, because that was also featured in this documentary I watched. I absolutely love documentaries that kind of chronicle like either film history or just, you know, a time in film. And this documentary that I was speaking about earlier just chronicles, you know, the action hero, the action film, and how it kind of changes over time. And I really recommend that. It's available on Amazon Prime. I think it's The Last Action Heroes. Go check it out. Definitely recommend it. Talked about this movie, and it, you know, gave a fun nod to it. This is an absolutely fun movie. If you haven't seen it, I 100% recommend it, just because it's such a fun watch. Like, it might not be the best movie ever. I mean, they clearly ripped off action sequences from Jackie Chan within this film.
Glad you could drop in.
Yeah, fun that you brought up like Jackie Chan movies. Like, I hope this movie kind of like got people interested, because I know like Jackie Chan movies weren't necessarily popular right away, but they've definitely picked up and stuff. And if this movie kind of took inspiration, kind of helped those kind of movies come to America, that's like really rad on its end and stuff. There were some things also in this movie that I thought were so over the top and crazy, like,
Hey, Lynn, let's go!
I'm not an electrician by any means, but like, were some of the electric moments at that jail, were those like realistic, or like, I don't know, I found those hilarious.
If you grab one wire and you don't touch the ground, are you okay? I think it's right.
I don't know about that. That's where I was like, I don't know, but like, let us know in the comments, please, because while watching, I was like, no, these guys are gonna die or something.
So yeah, I have to say I absolutely enjoyed Tango Cash. I 100% recommend it. This is a movie that I was so happy to like finally see a movie that you know, like kind of that thing. I don't know. There needs to be a word for this because it's a not really a complex emotion, but it's just something where it's like you absolutely love something and then you realize that there was something that, you know, had coincided everything that you absolutely love, but you never knew about. You know, there needs to be a word for that. We might need to come up with it on this show, to be honest. But once I find out that there's a movie that I haven't seen that I missed somehow, but then it just fits into everything that I love, for me, that was Tango Cash.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. Like, I mean, the only way I can describe it really is just satisfying, like, goodness for the most part. Just like, there's a lot of movies that, you know, they're not the best movie ever made, but just when you watch it, you just feel a sense of ease and just like good comfort food. Like, it's like eating pizza, I'd say. You know what you're getting. It's not going to be the best thing in the world, but you're going to love it and stuff, and you're just going to be stoked that you're having it. There's so many movies like that where, like, I kind of take for granted, but anytime I watch them, I forgot how much I love them. Like, movies like Rush Hour or Commando or Predator, just like any of those like dorky action movies where, like, you know, they're not perfect by any means, but there's a reason why people like them. They not necessarily will be classics, but they definitely have like those cult followings. And that's what this is essentially. It's just like, I didn't expect to see a movie between Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone being buddy cops, but it worked and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, if you haven't checked out Tango Cash, maybe you were the last ones on this planet to check it out. But if you haven't, go watch this movie. It's definitely worth the watch. And if you guys love to support the show, the easiest way to support the show actually is by watching this movie. Go watch Tango Cash. We have an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. Go check it out.
Yeah. Another way to help us out is by smashing that like button. That's a good way to help support, get this video to the masses. A lot of people will check it out if you're hitting that like button. Also, leave a comment letting us know what you thought about the movie after renting it through our Amazon affiliate link. Also, if you haven't, subscribe and hit that notification bell. You'll get all our latest updates on brand new videos.
And tune in next week, guys, for a brand new video here on Never Have I Ever.